Okay, folks, this is the story about Jeanette from Grandma Esplin. It says, Jeanette, you were the tiniest baby we had. You were born on September 7th, the day after Labor Day. By the time we took you home, you weighed less than 6 pounds. You seemed extra susceptible to everything, and every time I took you anywhere, you got sick. Finally, I decided to stay home with you. It was several months before I went to Sunday school. I did take turns going to sacrament meeting with Dad, however. Back in those days, we had Sunday school every Sunday morning at about 10 o'clock, and then we had sacrament meeting in the evening about 5 or 7, depending on which schedule you were on. So you could go, and they offered the sacrament in Sunday school too, so you could go in the morning or at night. As Jeanette grew, she turned into a pretty little girl, but her toes really turned in when she walked. We took her to a specialist, and he was going to fit her with braces, but somehow we didn't get it done. Surprisingly enough, her feet straightened themselves. Jeanette demanded love. If you didn't give her all the love she needed, she would climb up onto your lap and just steal your love away. When I used to put her to bed, I would often lay by her and cuddle her a minute. I could actually feel strength leave my body as though it were wrapping around her. Often when Jeanette was a baby, I took her downstairs to put her in a crib that she shared with her brothers and sisters. I always kissed her and tucked her in the crib and left the room. So we didn't share the crib, but we all were in one little room. There was a crib, a bunk bed, and a single bed around every wall, and hardly any room to walk. For some reason, I stayed in the room that evening. Suddenly, she began to choke. There was a penny in her throat. Had I left the room, she would have choked. When we lived at Rockford, a little neighbor girl used to come and play. The little girl was really spoiled and wanted things her way. If everything didn't go the way she wanted, she would threaten to go home. One day, she had started home several times. Each time, Gay would say, "Don't go, don't go." Finally, Jeanette got really tired of the neighbor's spunky behavior, and when she started home again, Jeanette went around and locked all the doors so she could not come back. Jeanette was a very good student. She was also a good artist and drew some good pictures in school. In the 6th grade, she and Hal Peterson had the longest 6th grade romance in the class. Like Gay, Jeanette learned to cook and clean and sew. She became famous among our neighbors for her fudge, and still is famous for that. In junior high school, she participated in drill team, and she did not try out for high school drill team. At about 12 or 13, Jeanette turned into a golden girl during the summer. Her hair was golden, her skin was golden. It was very pretty age. When Brent was born, Jeanette was just 4.5, but she could hold him and tend him very well. I can remember her holding him, trying to keep him from crying while I scrubbed the floors. When Jeanette was in high school, in junior high, When Jeanette was in high school or junior high, she had a serious attack of tonsillitis. We thought it was flu at first because flu was going around. Finally, we took Jeanette to the doctor and discovered that we were wrong. But she was so sick that I was afraid to have her sleep alone. I slept at the foot of her bed. In the middle of the night, she wanted a drink of water. I gave her one and then went back to sleep. Suddenly, I heard her go, "Whoop, I jumped up, scared to death. I thought she was dying, but she had just gone to sleep and spilled the cold water all over her." Jeanette was a happy, full of fun girl. She and Gay were always firm friends. In high school, Jeanette participated in Pep Club, FHA, and Honor Society. She was also in a senior play. During her junior year, she began dating John Bullwinkle of Aberdeen. He was a great influence on her life. She dated him during her senior year and in her freshman year at college. She and Lori Van Orden and John and Leighton Anderson, Lori's friend from Aberdeen, were always together. It was a great shock to Jeanette when John and she broke up. She called from Rick's College, where she was going to school, to visit with us. We went to see her and to console her. Jeanette and Lori had many friends. The year they were freshmen in college, they spent every Sunday at home going to mission farewell testimonials. One of Brent's friends said, "No matter where we go, Brent, if there is a missionary farewell, Jeanette and Lori are there." Brent and Jeanette were really good friends and had a lot of fun together after the other children were away to school. Jeanette was always full of fun and jokes. She was sort of like a little ball of sunshine, but she could be spunky on occasion. Once, when she refused to do something she was obligated to do, Gay did it for her, and Jeanette said, "Gay makes me so mad. She is always good." The next summer, after she and John broke up, Jeanette dated a special young man called Bill Young from Cary, Idaho. He was really good to her. He was planning on going on a mission. When during the summer Jeanette worked at the migrant school in Riverside, she really enjoyed this work. When she went back to school in September, she met a young man from Pennsylvania, Ed Merrifield. One day in September, she called to tell us that she wanted to bring friends home for the week, and Ed was one of the friends. We really didn't want anyone that weekend. We were planning on a trip with Delisle's mother. Finally, we told her she could bring her friends home, but Ed would have to stay at Ty and Gail's. Jeanette and her friends arrived shortly before we left. We all said hello, and then we were off on our trip. The next week, we went to Island Park to chop wood. On the way home, we stopped to see Jeanette. She was with Ed at the apartment. They had sent all of her roommates away. They told us they wanted to be married. We were shocked, but asked them if they were sure. They said yes. We told them we thought they should wait until they knew each other better. They had already called Ed's parents and visited with them. Mr. and Mrs. Merrifield also advised them to wait. We told Jeanette we thought she should meet Ed's parents before their wedding. We had supposed maybe she would meet them in the spring. But she went home with Ed at Christmas time. She thought his parents were great. Ed gave her a diamond engagement ring while she was there, making her engagement official. Jeanette and Ed were married on May 5th, 1976, in the Idaho Falls Temple. Ed's parents came to be with him, as did his best man, Larry Matheny. Ed, you'll have to check me on that. And his wife. At this writing, Ed is going to Rick's college and working at the radio station. Jeanette graduated with honors before she was married. She is now secretary to the home ec department at Rick's and is taking a class or two. They live in the Archer area. Well, little sunshine, you know we love you. You have always been a delight to us, even though all your tribulations, even through all your tribulations with boys. It made life interesting. Keep smiling always. We love you. You could clean house like a whiz. Let me see. Here's some things that she wrote underneath that. Ties child when little, about 5.
Hi, Ty.
Mom, this is what Ty must have said this when he was little. Mom, I'm bleeding all over the bathroom. She knocked a bottle down. It hit the tub, and sharp pieces jabbed into her foot. I went dashing upstairs, expecting to see blood everywhere, but it was a wound. But her wound was just dribbling a little. So this is when, I guess, Gay was Jeanette was about 5. And then something about here, 11 or 12, nursed cat back to health. Jeanette's going to have to add those stories. Okay, that's all for today, except I was going to say, there's the story about Mom and Dad talking with Jeanette in Rexburg, and then on the way home she was crying and said, "What's that guy's name anyway?" She couldn't remember what his name was.
Yes.
Yeah,
Ed.
Ed's name. Okay, goodbye.